Based on all of your experience in the military, high pressure situations, seeing people in horrible situations, seeing people in good situations, what do you find most beautiful about humanity?
Oh, that's a good question. What do I find most beautiful about humanity? I think that we all have the ability to grow and develop and change. Nothing about you in this current moment is permanent. Whether you're having a good day or a bad day, whether you're in a place you're really happy with, whether you're not at all happy with the situation you'll find yourself, all of it you can do something about. You can change. You can make some decisions that either shift you in a positive direction or don't. And I think that ability to have agency over what it is you're doing, where your life is a real uniqueness that we have. And I think just living in the West, living in the developed world, just means that we have more potential to kind of do that. We recently took over ownership of a dog from someone, a sort of Sprocker, sort of Springer Cocker Spaniel mix. Now, if you're a dog, for example, you are totally a victim of the circumstances of that, the owner that takes you on, right? That's really basically kind of it, isn't it? That's your life is dictated entirely by how someone else treats and interacts with you. Humans are completely different. You have the opportunity to make changes to yourself, make changes to how you live your life, and proactively seek this concept of happiness. And I think when you really think about like what happiness looks like, it's about being satisfied with the things that you've already got. And so, I spent a lot of time kind of thinking about this sort of concept of expectations, management of expectations around others, but also your own expectations. Whenever your expectations are met, you are happy. So you go into Starbucks, you ask for a cup of coffee. If it's made in the way that you're expecting, you're happy with that, right? And that uniformity is driven by a kind of Starbucks standard for how they make coffee all the way around the world, right? If you think about whenever you're happy with an organization, it's because they meet your expectations, or maybe they slightly exceed them. Whenever you're unhappy, it's because there's a gap in your expectations and what you get. That's why people get unhappy and frustrated with organizations. But equally, it's why people get unhappy and frustrated with their lives, because there's a gap between what they've got and what they think they should have. And actually, happiness is not necessarily driven by achieving what you've got. It's about being happy with what you've got and reducing that level of expectation. So if you can be thankful, and this takes some time, I'm not saying that this is easy, but if you can be thankful for the fact that you have access to food in your house, that you have a warm building around you, and you go to bed in a safe and secure environment, everything else on top of that becomes a bonus. And I really try and sort of think about that, or I really kind of find that helpful to think about. And we all have the capacity to think like that, but it requires work, it requires reflection, and it requires the desire to change ourselves. And I think one of the biggest problems of the world is that everyone wants to change someone else. No one or fewer people are willing to look internally and seek to change themselves. And if you're unhappy with where you are, or if your expectations aren't being met, it's your problem. So think about how you're going to solve it. Because guess what? The world was here first. You have sort of come into it. Your needs are almost kind of secondary to that. So think about, those are just some things I think are kind of, I guess I found helpful, and that I think other people might be able to find helpful as well.